everybody, it's Keris here, helping you get your big schools and nurseries. And if you are currently watching us on replay, do write replay for me. Let me know who is here, because I know this is a live interview you're not going to want to miss, because I've got my amazing one of my brand new Approaching Schools Academy members, Reema, joining me today, who is just going to blow your socks off with the results she's had already. And I think you'll be very inspired at some of the insights she's going to be able to give you about how to get your business into schools and nurseries right now. So welcome, Reema.
Hello, hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for giving up some time to speak to us this afternoon.
Okay.
Would you like to introduce your business and tell everybody a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so I'm the founder of Bangor Fusion. So Bangor Fusion is basically an approach to allowing children and adults to stay active and healthy. So what I've kind of used my ethos is just trying to get into schools, really, obviously, just because I know there's a big opportunity there to try and just keep children healthy within the targets and everything. So yeah, and I've already had a couple of like I said, good results.
Yeah, amazing. So we were trying to work out before we came live how long you've kind of been following me. So when did you first become aware that there was this help out there to get into schools?
Probably just at the beginning of COVID. So that's around about 3 years.
3 years ago.
Obviously, everyone was trying to transfer over online, and I was kind of looking. I found a way of actually doing that, but I kept watching and thinking, okay, what is Keris doing? How is she doing it? And yeah, so I have participated in quite a lot of challenges, but then I've stopped halfway. I haven't really completed them until this year. To fully complete it. I think it's just mindset, headset where I'm at, because I thought I know everything. I know exactly what to do because I've already got some exposure and things are working. But having actually said to myself, well, okay, I've been watching you for quite a while. Now may be the time. And yeah, it's phenomenal. Honestly, it's given me such more insight as to my approach, what I could be working on, what things I should be doing. And obviously, the community that you're in.
Yeah.
Because I can, it's the experience of others that kind of boosted me to kind of get involved here.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. So you've been following me for 3 years, never totally completed one of my 5-day challenges, decided January this year, going to do it this time, going to do it. You came on the challenge in January, and then you decided to actually take the leap and come join me inside the Approaching Schools Academy in February. So not very, very long ago at all. Tell me, what was it? Obviously on the free challenge, we give you a lot of information. You do learn how to create a piece of marketing that you can send out to schools and nurseries straight away. So what was it about the Approaching Schools Academy that made you want to join the full program this time?
I think obviously the initial thing was time, actually putting the time and effort into it and really kind of focusing my mindset onto how I'm going to do this. And also, interestingly, in terms of the actual the layout of what we should be doing, how we get through into schools, past the gatekeeper, understanding who we need to target with. And just kind of not focusing that there's only just one person. There are actually other people in the decision process. It's a big insight. And I suppose most of all, really understanding the research out there and finding out what is really, really important to the school. Not to me, but to the school. And that's really helped in actually redefining my package and redefining what I do. And it's all almost kind of given me that confidence to really now talk about what potentially I can help with in the schools. And it's all about helping, supporting, and using that framework, that type of terminology that they can resonate with.
Yes. Oh, amazing. Brilliant. So you did only just join in February. You've had a bit of a chance now to sort of get stuck into some of the modules, because in the academy we have almost 2 elements. You have the self-study, CPD accredited course, which formulates the main framework of the academy. But then alongside the program, you get bonus access to my live support group as well, and access to my team of experts who have all been key decision makers in schools before doing what they do now. In terms of the modules, you mentioned kind of the framework and how actually learning how to approach various different key decision makers, learning how to start making those sales. How have you found kind of working through those modules themselves, would you say?
Really easy. To be fair, I've kind of gone in and out. But then also I've realized that actually I've got to go back to one, because without the first module, I'm not really going to understand everything else. Although obviously there's kind of lots of different questions I come up with, and you kindly say, oh, go to module 2 or module 3 to actually find that information. But it's a process, and you have to start from the beginning. And I've realized that over time that actually there's no point with doing something else when I perhaps haven't got my email framework right, or perhaps signature to come across a lot more professional. So it's the little wins that I've realized through actually going through. And it is our space, and I can still go in and out of things, but I found a lot easier to follow, obviously with everyone else being involved in the community that you're in, just to also provide some help and suggest, well, I've done it this way, perhaps, and so I've already created a lot of buddies that I can maybe speak to, and just talk to them about what I can do, and also equally help other people, because I've had an experience that maybe someone else might benefit from. So it's really, really useful to be able to look back at those recordings you've done and just follow through. So
amazing.
Claire said this, and then go back to it. So it's a really good way of doing it.
I'm really pleased to hear that, because it has been structured in such a way that if you immediately need something, there is instant access to that module to go in and get it, and you almost use it as a toolkit to support you with where you're at on your approaching schools journey. However, like you say, it's also been structured as a linear course to learn step by step, and it is CPD accredited in that way, because everything's laid out in a logical format for you to take right from start to finish. So it's great for you to be able to go in and get what you need, but then start from the beginning to kind of build on those foundations that you've already set. Like you said, you'd already started getting your name out there, but for some reason you weren't quite making sales from schools.
Absolutely, because the pricing was the biggest thing, because again, with the pricing, not being able to package what I've got now. Before, it was just, it's just a one-off, but actually I don't have to do that. I can actually create a whole piece across the school academic year, and I probably would have not known that without not being in this group.
Yes, because we have an entire sales module on that, on creating your packages, doing your pricing. And what we've just done as a bonus for the last 4 weeks is a pricing and packaging boot camp as well, give you additional live input on that, which I know you've taken a lot from. You've turned up and asked questions, which has been great, because you've been able to move along that much quicker. And we'll talk in a moment about the progress you've made very, very recently because of that. You mentioned the community, which I think is important to touch on as well, because it isn't just a course. Having that support of those other children's activity providers is priceless, really, isn't it? Because like you say, there's people that have been there and done that, and they've done it in one way, and you can get insights from them. But you put something hugely insightful on the Q&A thread this morning that other people can learn from. And so people are learning from each other all the time in all different niches within the children's activity industry, which I absolutely love. And alongside that, you get weekly Q&As, you get a monthly business coaching call, you get a monthly mindset call with Philippa, a termly curriculum call with Karen. How have you found being able to dip into that sort of access?
Really useful. Again, my mindset wasn't there 3 years ago, and as you said, you kept, even I recall being probably one of the last people trying to join this. You were like, come on, Reema, you've been watching me for so long. So it's like the mindset's really helped. Being on with Philippa, just telling you how it is, and actually dropping that emotion side of it, and actually how it makes you feel, but actually turning it around to positive was the biggest thing. And I kind of welcome now those mindset events, or the boot camps, the evenings, where I can actually share with you what the progress is. And it's obviously, like I said, it's great to be able to find out what other people are doing and think, oh God, right, yes, of course, that money whole thing. Because again, looking back, I kind of think, am I still worth it? Am I still able to actually imagine to get all that money inside this one offer? And I suppose only a couple of days ago, I never even imagined I would get that or even have that conversation. But obviously just in the last couple of days, I'm thinking I can have that conversation.
Yeah.
It's nothing. There's nothing to worry about. It's entirely possible, and that's the biggest thing. So the belief of what I can achieve is there now. Absolutely.
And that's so important, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what's going to drive us forward. When we believe in our offers, believe in our business, that's what's going to keep us going on the slightly darker days, or when schools aren't quite responding as quickly as we'd like them to. It's that belief that's going to drive us forward. And you've made so much progress in such little time. So you mentioned that you've been following me for 3 years and that you finally decided to bite the bullet kind of end of January, early February this year. What's already happened since joining the Approaching Schools Academy?
Okay, so when I decided to join, I didn't think where I was going to get the money from. I thought, okay, it's going to happen. It's got to happen. And having sent out the email, with the proper format and the right information, I actually got someone approach me and said, "Oh, by the way, I've heard about you. I wanted to kind of look at something," and just having that full-on conversation, I've doubled my investment, and I'm like, how is that possible? With one school, how have I done that? And the fact that it's not a one-off, it's actually over 9 to 10 weeks. It would have been almost 12, but there's a couple of days where they're not able to make. But for me, that's huge. That's something I've never been able to do. And the fact that it's kind of given me the confidence to say, well, actually, that's where my benchmark is. That if I can do that with one, I could potentially do that with a lot more.
That's your proof, right? You've already started testing the market with your prices, and you said before you came into the Approaching Schools Academy, pricing was your biggest stumbling block.
I had no idea.
And already, a school is happy to pay you £2,000 for 9 weeks. Happy days. What's the next school going to say? And in fact, since then, so you doubled your investment with one school within a month of joining. But since then, more things have happened, haven't they? So since then, you've had another school say yes.
Yeah, so I've had another school confirm a whole day's worth, and 2 other schools just working out what they potentially might be able to do across the year groups. So they do want someone to come in. So we're just trying to work out the right day, the day rate and stuff. So that's potentially 2 more, and I'm expecting something, by the end of the week. But that, for me, I never thought I'd do that, even just with, 3 or 4 schools. But to be able to do this in one school, it just helped me realize that actually, if I price point my packages correctly, this is what's possible. And only today, following up with the boot camp and the a follow-up meeting after a demo is obviously what you've suggested. I decided that I'm going to have a chat with someone, and if I don't necessarily say that. I just say, "Oh, bye, thanks very much." But actually, I went to the decision maker and said, "So, how did you find that?" Got some feedback, and she was really keen to be able to do something in the nursery that I went to this morning, and they were short on funding as a single nursery. But then she told me, well, we are a chain of nurseries. And that was a light bulb moment. I thought, well, actually, why don't you consider actually doing this across the nursery chain? And that way it's benefiting all the nurseries, but equally you can spread out all your funds across the year. So that to them was like, wow, yes, we can do that, So it's obviously a light moment for them, but equally for me to be able to confidently share, a moment where they can think, yeah, we can do this. So all I did was just talk about my packages and say, this is potentially what I could do for 6 weeks, rather than me saying, oh, well, let's just do a one-off, or, it's given me that confidence, to be fair, to say that this is possible.
This is it, right? We give them opportunities. We let them decide how they're going to fund those opportunities. And I think that's a huge insight right there for any early years provider that's been worried about whether a single nursery near them is going to have the budget. If you have the opportunity to spread that cost across the whole chain, you're going to have the same amount of work out of it, the same amount of money out of it, but the nurseries, you've allowed the nursery to be more flexible in how they pay, and that is going to ultimately pay off. That's the difference between getting booked in that nursery or not being booked at all. which is a fantastic insight you've given us all today. So thank you for that, Reema. That's brilliant. So what are your, I know you've got some negotiations in place right now. You're hoping to wrap them up by the end of the week. But so far to date in sales, since joining the Approaching Schools Academy in February, are you happy to talk about what that's meant to you?
Yeah, so far, I mean, it's probably just over £3,000, and that's a big
tripled your investment.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
And what I'm really excited for you next, Reema, is because obviously for you, it's been a real light bulb moment that schools will quite happily pay for a package for a term. You don't no longer have to keep selling single one-off workshops if you don't want to. But what's really exciting is something we were talking about on the packaging bootcamp in the Approaching Schools Academy the other night, is you're going to start adding an annual package into your options. And like you said, you've got the confidence now to do that. Offer it as an opportunity and see what happens.
Exactly.
If an annual package was never an option, schools are never going to buy that from you. If it's an option, it's very, very exciting to see where that goes. So I mean,
I was only able to do that just because of the insights you gave me with what value I can add. So I was able to then differentiate each package by saying, this is what I'm going to add in my 6th week. But then all this comes with that 12. And even to today's conversation, they were like, we could do with that. I can enjoy that. And even they get involved as well. So there's a whole lot of conversation that happened with that. And it's the value. And I've realized how much value I can add if I put the work in, if I get it done. And then it's just packaged in a nice way. And then they can't say no then.
Yes, that's it. And it's a big mindset shift, isn't it? Whereby adding value and providing something of high value doesn't mean you're discounting, doesn't mean you're giving them something like a cheaper option. Actually, the more value you can add to a school, the more they will pay in return for that value. And I know that's been huge for you. And it must be a huge confidence boost to now kind of understand really that this has just happened with a couple of schools in the space of a couple of months. Imagine what's going to happen over your next year that you have with us in the academy when you just keep building on top of that momentum you've already created. So I'm so excited for you, Reema.
I just sit there thinking, why did I not do this 3 years ago? Why?
So many people say that. Many people say that, and it's one of those things, isn't it? But you took the leap in the end, and that's all that matters, because it's absolutely paying off for you, and I couldn't be prouder.
No, it's all been good. And like I said, I've met such a good bunch of people who are doing the same thing and just kind of rubbing off that positivity across each other, and it's just really, really amazing.
Oh, I'm so pleased for you. That's amazing. So if anyone's watching who has been thinking about investing in themselves, whether that's time, whether that's money in their business this year, to really start growing it, and likes the idea of working with schools and nurseries, what would your advice be to them based on your own experience?
Just do it. And like I said, it's that mindset thing. It's that biggest thing. That's the obstacle. How am I going to pay for it, or how am I going to do it? And I know a lot of people are having that issue quite a lot at the moment. And it's just, like I said, the belief to faith that actually, as soon as you say yes and you give yourself into that, the universe just works. And that's how I see it, and like I said, it's just that whole kind of positivity and spin around. Just follow the process. Rather than just going here and there and everywhere, follow that process, because someone's done it before, someone's got the success before, and see what happens.
Amazing advice. Thank you so much, Reema, for coming and chatting to us today. It's been really, really inspiring. I know lots of people watching on replay later and making comments. So thank you so much, and good luck. And I'll obviously see you very soon in the academy on Q&A anyway. But thanks so much, and thanks everyone who's been watching. I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.